Hi, Scott with Bright Rock Guitars. Today is Sunday, day 6 of my build. This is going to be the end of my second video. And I'm doing that so you don't need to watch the whole thing to get to the end and see what I've done here. In reviewing my first video, recognized obviously a lot to improve with taking video. So this has been a great thing to push me towards just doing this, not thinking too much about it, and going from there, just trying to improve on things. Yesterday I shot my finish on my body. I installed my frets on my neck. Made some changes this week. Wednesday, as you know, we had a super flower blood moon eclipse. So my original intent was to have a lighted feature on this and just be a white full moon. By coincidence, the color scheme of this was going to be black, grays, and reds. And I thought, man, I need to get some red LEDs and make this thing a blood moon. So I'm calling this guitar Super Flower Blood Moon. And it will be my entry into this year's Great Guitar Build-Off. So to show you, I guess, some of the features, my neck is an oil finish neck, and I've got my logo there. I had to put on quite a few coats of oil to bury my water slide decal. It's a 12-inch radius board, stainless steel fret, jumbos. I've got a 1962 Fender profiled neck that I used off of a template that I had laying around, walnut skunk stripe, gray dyed fretboard, bird's eye maple. I think it's pretty cool. Red dots, red plastic dots, red side dots. Great feeling neck. Can't wait to get it together and play it. My body is ash. I mentioned the weight of this thing when it started out. It was 11.6 pounds. My light feature, I changed what I was doing there. I was going to put in a momentary switch, but after kind of looking at it and planning the wiring of this thing, I realized that the light is independent of the switch, and I was going to need a separate rocker switch or on-off switch to kill the lights so that the battery wouldn't drain. So instead of a momentary switch, I'm using a latching switch. It's a push-push pot, and it will be wired with the signal of the pickup so that it will stutter as you use it. Now, the downside of this is it's a latching switch, so you have to find kind of an in-between. Otherwise, the whole thing is killed, which I wanted so you can turn the power off on the battery and you're not always dealing with battery power. That allows me just 2 control holes in the guitar without a bunch of other fiddly things. The other change that happened, the distressed grain was going to be a very bright red, and in doing that, once I was in the booth spraying my clear, it seemed really busy looking with all the things, and I wanted the focal point to be on the neck and this fake sound hole feature. So that was the first thing. And then also I used a waterborne stain on the grain that wasn't going to be red, so the black part. And there were areas that were a little splotchy. The other thing that I recognized was this sound hole was very translucent, and I wanted it to be grayed out like it was like a hole. So I decided to do a tint coat of black in my lacquer to hide that. So I sprayed that black was sprayed on the whole guitar so the red doesn't pop through as much, which I'm actually kind of happy about because it's a little bit more of a subtle effect, and I think your eye isn't so distracted with all kinds of features and busyness. In shooting black, I didn't tape off my rosette, so I had to scrape that back, make myself a little sanding stick to get back to white and black. That is the build. Yeah, this thing now weighs 4.6 pounds. I don't know if I mentioned that as I was talking about the weight of this thing, but I think I'll be right around 9 pounds when it's all together. So yeah, that kind of concludes my build. I've got parts coming. I got a shipping notification on my pickup. I should have that early next week. I'll be able to assemble it and do my setup and begin my final video submission. So what else should I say? Can I say? Thanks for watching. This has been a lot of fun, huge learning experience for me and sort of getting in front of my phone. Somewhere down the road I would like to improve my equipment, but right now not a priority. Yeah, I've been just learning a ton of things. Biggest one is don't have the radio playing. YouTube will flag it as copyright violation, and now you've got no sound in your video clips. And yeah, so I've got 2.5 hours of clips. I'm going to try to edit those down this weekend, see what's usable. And so if you'd like to see some of the steps, you can continue watching this video. Otherwise, thanks for watching this much. Anyways, I believe final videos begin being submitted next Monday, so I've got a week. I want to get this done before then, so this is going to be a push, but I love a challenge and I kind of like the chaos, and I've sort of put everything else on hold waiting to get this thing rolling. So anyways, this video is basically just, again, overviewing what I'm going to be doing, what I'm going to be building. I've been thinking about it since Saturday, how I'm going to approach this thing, what I'm going to do, and I just want to review that. I went through my inventory and I had a Tessie switch. I'm going to use that. It's a lighted switch. There will be, I guess for you UK people, a battery. Is that how you say it? I'm going to have a battery operated switch, momentary switch. I'm going to, I made this morning. I'm going to put in a false rosette here. I'm going to clear epoxy it. I'm going to probably put in some pearl to sort of emulate or resemble the moon, like my logo, and it will operate some LEDs that I'm going to wire in series with the switch. So that'll be going there. Again, a single pickup. Again, going through my inventory, I put together a build box. I had this Shaler trim that's been sitting around for, man, a long time, years, probably 5 years. I just opened it. My original thought was that I would recess the trim. It's not going to work that way because it has a 42 mil block on the back. It's, for us Americans, that's a little over 1 5/8. The body being 1 3/4. If I were to recess it, it's going to punch through the back. So not going to do that. It's going to be sort of a flush mount, but I'm going to arch the top. And I've decided to go with the Super Distortion DiMarzio pickup. I like DiMarzio a lot. You know, and I like that you can get colored bobbins. So I went with a bright red bobbin set. I don't know if I'm going to get it in time, but if I don't, I have other pickups with black bobbins I'll be using. Again, a spin a split, and due to the fact that my bridge, the block is so deep, I could order a new block, but I don't want to screw around with waiting for parts and crap. I'm going to have to angle taper the neck. This is going to be bolt-on. So it'll be a bolt-on tapered neck. You know, I guess the Strat, Fenders, bolt-on necks, they tend to be flat. So I made a template this morning for that purpose. Yeah, so sort of got that sanded up and ready to go. It's going to be 2 degree taper, which is about a 3/8 lift over the position of the bridge. So this measured out at, the saddle's measured out at, I think it was 560 with a 1/4 inch exposure of the neck. I should be pretty close. So that's what I'm doing. Sort of wanted to try to get into more details, but I really feel like I need to get on this. I found a piece of walnut I'll be using for the back skunk stripe, or the cap for the truss rod. I'm going to put this in like an old fender. So the truss rod adjustment will be down here, but I'm going to put in a I guess a spherical relief here, so you don't have to take off the neck to adjust it. That'll give the headstock a nice clean transition from the board, nut, neck, with no holes up here. What else? I'm going to put a new logo on it as well. Something that I drew up a while ago. Typically I put in a medallion here, but I'm going to use just a linear logo. Yeah, so left-handed tuners versus right, which I typically do. A reverse headstock, tuners down here. What else? Oh, found some polycarbonate in my garage, or as I like to say, plant two. I got 2 plants, my shop, and then anyways. So I'll be cutting out a round clear disc this size. Boom. I'll be putting that in my recess. I'll probably line it with aluminum foil to make it a little more reflective. Pour a thin coat of pearl on it, epoxied. Let that dry. I'll have to do some testing to see if the light actually goes through my epoxy, my pearl. I'll set that in, recess that about maybe 1/4 inch, and then I will do another pour of epoxy, and then mix a layer close to the surface with some tint to it, so it's sort of, I want to try to make it disappear so it's not really there. It looks, kind of make it look like a sound hole, but then it'll be lighted up with the switch, and hopefully that light will go through those 2 layers. So kind of like a sunroof, putting a sunroof on this thing with a tinted coat of lacquer. All right, I guess I'm back. I'm still on, still Monday. I've been thinking about these videos and haven't put a lot of thought into it, but I guess I feel like I should probably have a little bit of video of me actually building this thing, and not like I just had it in the back room and pulled it out. So right now I'm working on my Rosette, and I've kept my template that I used to cut my fake sound hole. So that's going to be what it looks like, and I guess now that it's there, it feels like it's a little too big. So I'm going to do 5 layers of binding, and I'm using my template that I used to cut this to put these together. So what I plan on doing is, once I get these 5 layers in there and cut, I'm going to, actually I'm too high, I'm going to drop some CA glue in there to hold all this together. Hopefully it doesn't glue to this template. I'm going to keep the glue inside the binding away from this. I'll probably put some standoffs or something on there too, so I don't glue it to my table. So I just dropped my epoxy plate and my Rosette in there. Everything fit really good. The epoxy was still soft, and it was actually very soft, and so that was a mess getting it all over my fingers because I went to the edges with it, but that'll actually help in gluing the Rosette in place, so I'm good with that. Yeah, just thought I'd show you that. Hi, it's Wednesday the 26th, it's 8 o'clock. I wanted to just give an update as to what I did today. Spent a lot of time making finished samples. I think I made 6. I've settled on this. This will be the finish I'm doing. It's I had some red paint sitting around. It's just rattle can. I didn't want to go out and buy paint. I've got so much paint that I just wanted to use up stuff I had. So it's distressed ash. Used a wire wheel, painted it 2 coats. I squeegeed the paint off so I didn't have to sand a lot of paint off to get back to bare wood. I tried an oil-based finish. It didn't soak in very well. I got some waterborne, it's called charred wood, Varathane. That seemed to work pretty good. So we got back down to bare wood, getting rid of all the paint. Put 1 coat, brushed that on with a sponge, and I didn't even really have to wipe it off. The paint kind of repelled the finish. I wanted the grain to be a little bit more accented, so I think my guitar, I'm going to distress it a little heavier and try to get some of that grain down to get more paint in there so it can really pop. But overall, it's sort of what I was going for. The other thing is, I cut my shelf for my lock nut. I also routed my transition. I need to bring this down. I'll do that later. Going through my inlay material, I've had these red dots forever, and I wanted to use them up on something. It's sort of a unique look, but I think with everything else going on, red and black, they fit. This is going to be a grayed out dyed neck, so I think it's going to be really fitting. Going to do that. I wanted to show you, this is why I'm doing this, because I have it out, but you know, I've seen a lot of videos with people struggling to get straight dots on their fretboard. And it's really pretty simple. If you make a little sled with a taper that matches your neck taper, making sure that, you know, it's centered, you got a true center line, the taper is equal on both sides. And I had planned on at some point making a video on showing you how you can easily make something like this. So basically what this is this is a parallel edge to your center line. You put I'm not going to move the phone, but you put a stop block on your drill press, and you just slide it all the way across. I do make reference lines for the center this way, so you get center, you know, making slash marks, you know, across here to get a point there. I also am going to be putting in some red side dots to go with the main fret dots. And I carved cut my truss rod channel in the back of my neck. So that'll go in there like that. I'll make a little stop for this so it's not sliding around. My walnut skunk stripe will go in there like that. And then I made a recess here that I will plug with a piece of hard rock dowel that I had. So that'll be the neck. I wanted to show you that. Tomorrow I'm going to start being able to carve this. My epoxy on the body will be dry on Friday. So Thursday the neck I'm going to get totally done. I'll probably get it dyed, and maybe a coat or two of some oil on the fretboard. So that's it. I just wanted to show you sort of the construction of the neck and how I do my dots. So we'll check up tomorrow. Thanks. All right, it is now Thursday. I guess it would be day 3.5 of this build. It's going really well, surprisingly, for not having planned it very much. This morning I've got my fretboard radiused. I carved my neck, and I got my side dots in. This is sanded out. I shelved my my headstock. Got my transition. I detailed my nut shelf, which looks like it's sitting pretty good on the board. Yeah, so I'm going to probably dye this and get some oil on it so that has time to dry and I get my logo on here. I also want to get oil on the board underneath the frets, just to sort of protect it and you know, not may have a big mess once frets are in it trying to oil that. Sorry about that. Yeah. So my transition here, I'm still waiting for my epoxy to fully cure. I think it's there, but I've pushed things too many times and had major failures to take the risk at this point. I can't make the time up, so I am going to let it sit until tomorrow. Anyways, that being said, I was going to really make this a tight transition to the neck pocket, but I I traced the outline of it and I set this back about 1/8 of an inch, the contours up here, so it's not going to be like seamless or anything. That's okay. It's bolt on. I'm not going to sweat it. I want to get dye on here. I want it to dry so I can oil it. After I do that, I will be fretting this today. I am going to remove the fret tangs on this, and I will make a maple paste of sorts to fill in the extra slots here on the sides. Fill them in, And then, yeah, so the dye will probably, and oil will wait until I do that on the frets. So that's probably all I'm going to be doing for today. This is probably all the video I'll shoot today. Tomorrow is going to be a heavy day. I will begin working on the body, finishing that up. Should have it all done, built, ready to go for finishing tomorrow. So, thanks. Good morning. So this is, it's now Friday. I'm not sure the date, but it's my 5th day, 4.5 day into my build. My epoxy is cured. I arched my top this morning here. I wanted to show you my my router table that I mentioned earlier. So this isn't done, but basically this is an XY table, and I have bearings that slide this way, and I can go this way. And this allows me to be basically frictionless with my templates. So I'm not putting pressure as I slide my router across my template, pushing through the wood. I've had a lot of problems, not a lot, but I've had, you know, you get your top glued in and everything, and your template slips and your router goes into your wood, and you sort of, sometimes they can't be fixed and you have to take the whole top off. So it started with trying to improve that whole thing. So I had a table I made. It was sort of a prototype. It worked pretty well. It was smaller than this. It was, you know, only allowed me to work on a body. This allows me some extra length so I can actually pre-radius my fretboards before I beam sand it to a final radius. And the way that works is I've got my carriage here. I guess this would be my y-axis, this being my x-axis. I have sticks in here, and I actually put a little bit of carpet tape on these to hold them in place so that they were square and true, parallel with each other. So I'm unable to pull them out right now, but, well, actually, so I'm able to create arches and radius features, and I could do, you know, contours like this if I wanted to, with lips, putting these different shaped sticks in these channels here for my carriage to ride on. The other thing I wanted to improve in this is that when I'm doing tapered neck pockets, I end up making jigs, or in the past I've made jigs that I've had to taper. So there's a taper on this. Then I carpet tape them down. This happens to be a 2-degree taper. Well, these are a pain to make, and I wanted to improve that. So, you know, with this, on my x-axis, my plan is, and this isn't finished, I'm going to have some channels that I'm able to adjust with some screws so I can make my tapers. That will allow me to set any angle on my pocket as I need to set my string angle to the bridge, and it'll be adjustable. So these will lift up. I'm able to do this. My idea would be that I'd have some beams in here to be able to adjust and set to any neck. So make the neck, place the neck on center line, and then my my actual template for the cut would be adjustable to fit perfectly on my neck. So it'll hinge and swing out. It can go this way. That'll give me a perfect cut on my neck pockets. So I'm not going to go into that any further, but I did radius my arch my body this morning. My epoxy, everything worked out good. So now I have a bit of an arch there. That's about a 1/4 inch drop from center line to the edge. So it worked really well. Happy that that worked. I think it's going to be much better when I finalize it. I had to put some spacers because I don't have my channels made yet for my x-axis. So that's that. My epoxy worked out well. I'm going to ebonize this walnut wolf here to black that out. I put in my truss rod axis relief so that the neck doesn't have to come off, to adjust the truss rod bow. And yeah, so the rest of this build, I'm going to relieve this back, transition it into the neck. So this will drop down. It won't be so blocky feeling. And I'm going to get that done today. I'm going to distress the wood. I'm going to get paint on it. And I'm going to stain the wood. So those steps will all be done today. Now that my epoxy is dried, I can really move forward. My neck, pretty happy with how this looks. Although I didn't get my frets in because the board was still a little tacky and I wanted to get some extra coats on there. But let's see, yeah. So I dyed that gray. I like it. I got my logo put on this morning. And I'll probably do 2 more coats of oil on this thing, just so that I have enough finish there to really give it a nice smooth finish on the fingerboard. So that is where I'm at. My carve turned out really well. This is profiled off of 62 fender shape, and it's not my typical neck profile. My jigs and stuff that I have to carve this didn't work on this particular neck because I typically do a scarf joint 2-piece neck, and this being a single piece, my process didn't work because of actually the length of this whole thing. So, but I did pattern it. I have a pattern that I used here. It gives you the profile for 1st, 7th, and 12th fret. And it's very close. So, you know, you drop that in, you can check it. Check for gaps, make sure that everything is consistent across it and there's no dips. I'm probably within 15 thousandths across the neck. And I did that by taking rasps and files. This process was basically a hand carved neck. I finish carve typically my necks, but I have a process that really speeds that up and it's not so much filing that's required in that process. And at some point down the road, I'm going to be doing more full-featured videos on that, as well as this, my router table. Once I get it finished, I hope to, if there's an interest, to drop a plan set with parts lists and things like that. So if you have an interest in this or anything I do, send me an email, and I guess if there's enough interest, I will spend the time to do those things. I'm not going to do them. My plan is not to do them just to try to market something right now. Not worth my time unless there's a lot of interest. So if you do have an interest in that stuff, drop me a line at brightrockscott@gmail.com. And Brightrock is BRITEROCK, Scott, SCOTT, @gmail.com. Anyways, I'm going to check in end of the day, show you where I'm at, and all right, this is the end of my second video in this great guitar build off. If you made it this far, wow, thanks for sitting through all the clips I've put together here. I hope you've gotten something out of it. Just wanted to close with a sort of final thoughts on this particular video, and that is, I'm really glad I did do this. I'm not expecting a lot of votes or even to get very far in this competition as I'm new to the YouTube video making world. Don't have followers or subscribers or anything of that nature. So, but what it has done is it's actually gotten me to start making videos, and for that, this was well worth it. Really enjoyed this build. It was fun to sort of push through it and get it done in a week. So I want to thank my wife for supporting me in giving this a go, and trying to make this a full-time thing. So far, I love doing it. I was concerned that a hobby I loved, doing it full-time, it wouldn't be very fun, but that hasn't been the case, so I'm still going to plow forward. Want to thank Crimson Guitars and the folks over there for coming up with this concept idea. I think it's a great idea. There's a lot of builders out there who, you know, you got to be a one-man army to try to cover all the bases in doing something like this, and too often focus becomes on things that are necessary but not really helpful in getting your name out there or marketing what you do. So this has been a great jumping off place to be, and I'm glad that I've done that. I want to thank Ricky over at Crimson Guitars for just helping me get through this, the entrance into this competition and getting my stuff submitted and online. Yeah, with that, I'm not going to go on any further. Thanks for watching.